Rocket Raccoon next week.
Today
it's a pretty cool toy.
is the best day of the week. I call it Comic Book Day. My name's Chris Leger, and I am the Vintage Toy Man. I've been collecting vintage toys since my childhood.
Today's Comic Book Day, so it's Geeky Christmas. We get to go see all the good finds, check out all the new titles that we collect. It's always the best day of the week.
As a routine, my best friend Bob and I, every Wednesday, get together, pick up comic books at the local comic book store, Fantasy Realm.
We've been doing Comic Book Wednesdays for at least 15 years.
It's when the new comic books come out, get our reading done.
My favorite comics are Marvel comics.
Stuart Immonen, one of the best artists I'd say.
I used to hate Avengers, but now it's probably one of my favorite titles.
Never really related to G.I. Joe.
X-Men.
A little more to the Cobra side.
Spider-Man.
Meanwhile, at the comic book store...
My name is Randy Sauvé. I'm the owner of Fantasy Realm in Cornwall, Ontario. I've had the business going on 30 years. Basically opened up as a comic book shop, transitioned through a lot of different products throughout the years, but comics has been a mainstay for the length of the store. Originally a collector, but wanted to introduce the hobby. And that's why I opened the store, and I just helped other people with their collections.
What's up, Randy?
Yo, Randy.
What
What you got for us?
Comics and Ant-Man. Chris, I've known for, I guess, about 20 years. He was one of those guys that would come in after school and, you know, pick up his weekly fix of comics.
Ant-Man would look really good with Thor.
He'll go in with the other 8.
He'll go in with the Ant-Man and the Goliath and the...
I mean, it's always been comic books. I mean, that was my passion as a preteen, as a teenager. I was 11 when I first started, you know, buying and reading comic books and trading with neighborhood friends. And that's what I wanted to do from, you know, that age. You know, just out of high school, I was like, there's got to be, you know, more than just me going and buying comic books at the spinner rack, you know. So it's like, how can I find, you know, more people? You know, I would put index cards on spinner racks, you know, call me if you're looking for comic books, a trade or whatever. So I was selling comic books out of my bedroom at 14 years old.
There's got to be more.
How about the death of Archie?
No, thank you.
Finally.
Yeah. This is from that Archie from Archie Marries Betty, Archie Marries Veronica story.
Okay.
So that's the Archie that they're killing in here. So.
Is that the Archie world that's infested with zombies?
No, that's a separate Archie.
That's a separate
world.
Archie?
Yeah.
Who cares? Christ.
It's all over the news. It's going to be big.
I brought with me today Amazing Spider-Man #1, but it's not the actual comic book #1. It's the newspaper strips. And this was something that started back in 1976, the first week of January. And the popularity of newspaper strips were so huge that Marvel decided to launch Spider-Man into the newspaper. And so what they did was they ran it as a story, like any other ongoing story, from Monday to Saturday as a black and white daily strip, and then on Sunday you got your full color page. The series was a little bit more grounded rather than, you know, the fantasy type of stuff you would see in the comic books. So they kept the villains, you know, kind of not as extravagant as they would be in the comic books. So it was written by Stan the Man Lee, and it was drawn by Jazzy John Romita, as he was known. So it's a pretty good read too.
I remember coming in here in elementary school, not as often as I do now, mostly because my parents wouldn't let me go off on my own, but my mom would let me come in, and I would get things like cards. Those aren't cool anymore, but comic books, those weren't cool then. They're cool now.
Yeah.
It's funny how things change.
When I first opened in '85, it grew for a little bit up until the mid-'90s. In the last couple years, for me as a retailer, there was 3 separate factors. There was the popularity of the Big Bang Theory on television, which introduced people to the comic shop atmosphere and the culture. The popularity of The Walking Dead just boosted sales on Walking Dead through the roof. And the popularity of the Marvel movies, especially Avengers, that really changed everything from that point.
Another comic book day done, eh? Well, except now it's time to go read it. That's the best part. Well, mother lovers, welcome to my dungeon. Vintage Toy Man's lair. Boasting some comic books. Whereas we bag and board and then put them in boxes where usually they would be staying permanently. However, now it's a business. TheVintageToyMan.com, showing you one of my prized possessions. Not that the bag's too special, but right here we got the signature of Stan the Man Lee. Doesn't get any better than that. Highlight of my life, because as far as celebrities, who really cares? None really exist other than Stan Lee.